My roommate is trying to sublease her room to someone I have a restraining order against. Please help. When I was a freshman in college, a guy named Pete, 21M name changed, began harassing me to date him. I refused over and over again, and it ended with him ripping my shirt off at a party to try to touch my breasts. I filed a police report, and Pete was found guilty of assault. I have a 1,000 feet restraining order against Pete. Fast forward to this week, and my roommate Shelly needs a subletter to take over for her while she studies abroad for the summer. She didn't know she was leaving until 2 weeks ago and has been looking for someone to take over since then. She found Pete on CL and asked me if I approved. I showed her my court documents, but Shelly claims she can't find anyone else to take over and that I will have to deal. We got into a heated argument and she just left the apartment. This morning, Shelly texted me that Pete would be moving his stuff into the apartment today. I called the police, but Pete hasn't showed up yet, so they can't do anything. Shelly also says she will be staying for the remainder of the week. The lease says that she can move whoever she wants in without my permission. Same goes for me. But there's still the issue of the restraining order. The landlord told me that it was between Shelly and me to figure out. We both have 1-year leases that expire in December with the same terms. Relevant comments said, "Is Pete aware that you're the person he'll be sharing the apartment with? You might want to let him know that you'll be calling the police if he sets foot in the place." Op replied, "Pete is aware that I'm the roommate because Shelly posted the ad with a photo of us both, without my permission. I already promised I would be calling the police, but Shelly is locked in her room and refuses to listen to me. I'm chilling by the door with 911 already pre-dialed." Someone else said, "I agree with the consensus of calling the police the moment he arrives. Has he actually signed anything, like a sublet agreement? If so, he'll probably be on the hook to pay for an apartment he can't legally step in." Also not a lawyer, but I can't imagine that attempting to enter a living arrangement with a person holding a restraining order doesn't negate the restraining order. The first question I would ask Pete if I were a cop judge is, "Why did you think you could live there without violating the order?" Op replied said, "Shelly claims that Pete has already paid her for all 3 months in advance, and that he signed a contract with her. I told her that her contract does not override my restraining order, but she basically put her hands over her ears to drown out what I was saying. I plan on calling the cops the moment I see his car pull up, which is less than 1,000 feet. Shelly will still be here for the rest of the week, so I'm afraid this will escalate." Hi everyone, thanks for reading this update. I have added some extra details at the beginning to better explain what happened. Things took some M. Night Shyamalan twists. Details: Shelly and I were not close friends. We were simply roommates with our own separate bedrooms and a connecting kitchen living space. I have only known her since last December when we originally signed our leases. We have hung out, but the only real connection we had is that she likes anime, Japan, and I am Asian. The Craigslist ad that Shelly posted didn't have a photo. It turns out that she had used a generic photo of the two of us in an ad on our college's Facebook page, but Shelly took it down before I got a chance to take a screenshot. Actual update. After I made my Reddit post, Shelly was locked in her room for 3 hours. I tried to talk to her, but she wouldn't come out of the room. She left her room to get food and just walked past me as if I didn't exist. Everyone who I called told me that until Pete actually showed up, no crime was being committed, so I couldn't report it until then. I just sat by the door and window watching for Pete's car. This continued until early Saturday morning when Shelly woke up for her morning jog. I was still on the lookout for Pete's car. I stayed up all night on the couch. Shelly tried to sneak out past me, but I woke up and blocked the door. I needed an explanation for why I was being forced to stay up all night waiting to call the police on Pete when she knew that I had a restraining order against him. Shelly's explanation was that the restraining order doesn't matter to her, that she has dealt with unreasonable people like me before, and that she has never listened to any restraining order before now, so why should she just for me? The more I listened, the sicker I felt. Shelly basically admitted to me that she is a cunt. I told Shelly that she was a real piece of work and that I was going to maintain my watch for Pete and that I would contemplate taking legal action. She told me that whether I liked it or not, she was done looking for subletters and that it was my problem. I told her to get out and go for her jog, and she left and came back a bit later and locked herself in her room again. Sometime around noon, I had accidentally fallen asleep because I had been awake 36 plus hours at that point. I woke up and saw Pete helping Shelly move her stuff into her car. I didn't see him in the apartment, but he was helping her in the parking lot. I immediately locked them both out and called the police. Shelly and Pete came to the door again, and when Pete saw it was locked, and when he saw me watching from the window, he blew up at Shelly. He started to ask her why I was in the apartment and why Shelly didn't tell him that I was the roommate. He demanded his money back, and I could hear them screaming at each other through the door. The cops showed up, handcuffed Pete and Shelly. I told them my story, and Pete said he had text messages and emails to back himself up. The cops checked his phone, saw a text from Shelly saying along the lines that her roommate wouldn't care about XYZ because he was a chill guy. Pete had posted his own ad looking for a male roommate. That's right, Shelley is a liar too. The cops released Pete because he had proof that he didn't know it was me. I'm okay with this because I saw the email's texts too. Shelley was charged with disorderly conduct and her mom came to get her. Sunday evening, Shelley and her mom come back to the apartment to finish packing for her study abroad. Shelley made some snide remarks about me definitely going roommate hunting to find her a subletter as I said I would. I ignored her. Shelley left for her plane this morning. You know the good thing about separate leases? I am only liable for my rent, not hers. So I'm going to sit on my butt for the rest of the summer while she gets evicted for lack of rent payment. Relevant comments said, sounds like a crappy situation all around, but it also sounds like Pete didn't know, and now that he does, will not be back to bother you. Since you are on separate leases, you should hopefully not have anything to worry about legally or financially. Let Shelley deal with those issues herself. She brought them on herself. A quick question, if she does fail to pay, could you in any way get kicked out, or are you pretty much in the clear? Either way, good luck. Your roommate is immature and deserves the consequences of whatever happens to her in this situation. Op replied, our leases explicitly say that we are only liable for our individual portion of the rent, so I'm in the clear. And Pete really didn't know about me being there. That's how much of a bee Shelley is to let a man get arrested over something so stupid. And thanks. Op also had this comment, I wish she could have gotten charged with more, but she started bawling her eyes out to the police officer and he went easy on her because she looks so young. To me, it's just another sign that she's an awful person because she was manipulating the cops. The lease states explicitly that I'm not liable for her rent, and even if she tries to sue me, it's my word against hers, and I'm confident I would win that legal battle. Pete is staying as far away from it as he can, and he apologized to me and is trying to get his deposit back from her.